Today we're here with the Famas F1, French bullpup from the 70s. This is actually the civilian version. It's a MAS 223. It's pretty much one-to-one the same as the military. It just doesn't shoot full auto, nor does it shoot any burst. It also doesn't shoot any rifle grenades. Otherwise it's pretty much one-to-one, as I said, with the military version. You can see it's a bullpup. Is the most obvious feature of this gun. Another trademark of the Famas is the folding bipod and the obnoxious carry handle, which gives it the nickname Le Clarion, the trumpet. So back then, when they designed this gun, the task was simple. They wanted to replace two existing guns in the arsenal, a standard rifle and a submachine gun. I think it was the MAS 49 or MAS 59, something like this. Not too much of an expert like forgotten weapons. What they came up with is this, essentially the best of both worlds. So you got a bullpup setup, really short compact rifle, almost like a submachine gun, but still which can stretch its legs up to 300, 400, 500 meters due to the caliber of the gun, which is 5.56. Other cool things to know about the Famas. Back then they thought that the average rifleman, the ideal setup of the gun would be with the arrow sights set at around 9 centimeters above bore. So this is why it's as you can see here. And another special requirements back then was in terms of rifle grenades. This gun has to shoot around 400 rifle grenades. This was the standard average life that it had to endure, and theoretically 6,000 rounds is what the barrel life should be. You may wonder, why only 6,000? Well, back then in the Cold War they thought in case of full-out war against the Soviet Union, the average infantryman in France would last around half an hour. So they thought, 6,000 rounds barrel and 400 rifle grenades should be plenty of life for the gun to fulfill its duty. Overall, one thing that is notable about the Famas is that design has been pretty stable in the years. This gun had very little incremental development applied to it, as opposed to the M16, which was designed around the same age, late 60s. They didn't really figure out that this gun would last that long in service, and as a consequence, it's kind of outdated. While the M16 has evolved a lot with Picatinny rails and whatnot, it's become a great modular gun. The Famas has aged really badly. There was no export. The factory shut down in the 90s, and they really didn't have a clue on what to do with the gun as they went to war in Afghanistan and needed, optics, laser modules and whatnot. You can see how the gun is set up. One thing that is kind of really not compatible with modern warfare is you cannot apply any optics on the standard carry handle. You lose 0 all the time. So, to make it a bit more modern, they have undergone some remodernization efforts, like the Famas Valorisé or the Famas F1. Beretta has helped France out to reprofile barrels and apply various modifications, but overall it was not enough. And ultimately, even though it's a very iconic gun, it doesn't really fulfill the needs of the modern infantryman, and therefore France adopted the HK416, which is a proven design and a proven system that will for sure be more combat proof in 2020, 2021, as opposed to the old Famas. Overall, the Famas is a very collectible gun, very iconic. It's indeed one of my favorite guns. As you know, it doesn't really have to be super tactical or super efficient. I like historical guns that have something special to them. The Famas, the first contact that I had with it is back then when I started playing airsoft when I was young. My dad brought me one from Japan. It was a Marui Famas F1, and really, I loved it back then. It came straight out of video games like Metal Gear Solid or Call of Duty. It was really iconic. After you start to age a little bit, do a bit more research, have the funds, I thought, there was one on sale. I was like, I need to have this for my collection. It's really, if you like guns from Europe from the 60s, 70s, 80s, back then when countries were really developing their own stuff, it was reflecting the French industrial base back then. They came out with sick designs and other stuff like Concorde. Back then they were really investing in new and stuff and modern stuff. And this was just a testament of that age, an age that is definitely gone, where countries would just embark on new ventures, such as the Famas. So owning this is just like owning a piece of history, a piece of popular culture, and it's just a shame that there is not more of this available to the broader public.